So if you clicked on this video, you're probably wondering, how long should it take me to mix a song? Maybe it's taking you a long time and you're wondering if that's normal, or you work really fast and you're wondering if that's normal. Well, that's probably less likely. Or maybe you just keep working and you feel like you can't ever finish it and you don't know when your mix should be done. So you think that there's a time limit that you just throw your hands up and say it's done. If any of these things apply to you, I might have some insight for you. So let's talk about it. Yo, what's good, guys? Inswain with Inswain Audio. Welcome back here. If you're new, subscribe, stick around, because I drop a video every day. You don't want to miss them. But enough of that. Let's jump into this. So I got to preface pretty much everything on this channel with it all depends, right? Some people work faster, some people work slower. So there isn't like a set time frame that it should take you. And if you're faster or slower, that means something is wrong necessarily. But if you're working outside of this general time frame I'm going to give you in a moment here, it might be an indication of a separate problem. So it's not a problem inherently, but it might be signaling that there is something else wrong. So generally it takes people an hour to 6 hours, 8 hours maybe to do a mix. And I know that's a super broad time frame, but let me explain why that is. That's because every song is very different. Some songs are hundreds of tracks of live recorded instruments. So imagine going through, having to edit all that, rename that, organize that, and then mix that. That's going to take a long time no matter how fast you work, especially if you don't have a mix assistant who's mix prepping for you. So that time is taking out of your mix. And then on the lower end, what if you just have a 2-track, right? Or another mix that tends to be faster is if it's only a few tracks, but it's like electronic, meaning synthesized sounds. The producer usually puts a lot of the mixing, quote unquote, baked into their production process, which is going to speed up your mixing time. I have done mixes less than an hour. Very commonly, I'll get a simple mix and it's less than an hour to fully mix it. But most mixes are in that few hours range for most people. Some people work faster than others, some work slower, but that's roughly where it should be. Now, I'm guessing that you're probably not on the faster end. You're probably not watching this video because your mixes only take 5 minutes. So you probably take too long to mix, if I had to guess. And that's why you're watching this video. If that's the case, then I got a few things to talk about here that might help you. So if you find that your mixes are taking more than 8 hours, or just they should be faster, they're simple mixes, but they're taking you a long time. If it's taking you multiple days of working all day, making a million tweaks, chasing your tail, that might be a problem with your mixing and not how long it takes you. Because remember, if it takes you a long time, that's not inherently a problem. But like I said, it's probably an indication of something else. And I just kind of gave it away. Maybe you just are incessantly tweaking and you never finish your mix. That's not really a problem with how long it's taking you. It's a problem with your mix process, or it's a problem with your confidence. You need to be more confident in your moves and don't keep changing things forever. Make a move, be confident in that move, and keep it. Move on to the next thing. Now, that's not to say that we can't go back and change things. Of course, nothing is permanent, but you need to make most of your moves with confidence, do it right the first time, and move on. You got to commit to things, right? That's kind of like the double-edged sword of working in digital. We have unlimited space, theoretically, unlimited time. We can Command Z, Option Z, whatever. We can undo a million times. Back in the day, you're recording to tape, whatever. You do it, and that's it. You don't get to edit it. You want to edit it. It's a time-consuming process that's not always perfect. So you had to commit to sounds. Now we have so many options that we never even make an option. So while that's amazing, it also can cause it to where you just keep working forever and you never get anything done, which isn't amazing. So you need to have more confidence. You know what you're doing. Make the move. You made that move for a reason. Commit to it and move on. That's going to not only save you time, but it's going to actually finish your mixes, which is also going to save you a lot of time. Another reason that your mixes might be taking too long is you don't have a process. And mixing isn't paint by numbers. It's not a step-by-step thing. You do the same every time. But there is a few things or a general kind of outline or philosophy that you can follow every time. And until you've done it a little bit or you've developed that, you're going to be kind of running around in the dark every time you mix. So keep at it and you'll start to develop a process. Maybe that's, organize your project first, then edit, then mix tracks, then groups, then the mix bus, right? There's an example. Maybe that's your process. And once you start to realize that, you'll start to go. Or maybe you need a template. Instead of starting from scratch every time opening up a blank project, make yourself a template and have all the things that you're going to do every time, like creating tracks, creating sends, if you always like to use certain reverbs, set up a send on a template and have that ready to go. You can change it, but it'll always save you some time. Another way that you can get your mixes done faster is similar to the template, is make yourself presets within your plugins. This is one thing I take advantage of a lot. For example, when I use a multi-band compressor for vocals, I kind of have frequency ranges that I tend to start with. So I made myself a preset for vocals. So when I'm going to mix a vocal with a multi-band compressor, I go to that preset and I adjust it. I don't just leave it. I adjust everything, but it's already set up with 4 bands where I want them. And that's how I'm using it most of the time. So I don't have to move them, create 4 bands, move them around. They're already created generally where I want them to be, and I can work a little bit faster. And that's just an example. You could use any type of plugin any way you want. Even further, and what I really love to do is set preset defaults for my plugins. So when I pull up a plugin, it's defaulted to some settings that I always like. For example, the noise off. I'm 99.99% of the time I'm turning the noise off of my plugins personally. So I'll turn the noise off and save that as my default. Let's say on the SSL bus compressor, I like to use, 4 ratio, 10 attack, whatever. I forgot the settings. They're like these common settings. I have that saved as my default. So when I pull the plugin up, it's already set to that because that's what I'm using most of the time anyways. Of course, I'm going to adjust it if need be, but it's already ready to go. I don't need to go through and do that every single time I pull up that plugin. And if you're working a lot and using these plugins a lot, imagine how much time that's going to save you in the long run if you do that for all your plugins. So find ways to cut down time. It's not only going to make it faster, like on a surface level, the most obvious way, but it's also going to make your process smoother, which keeps you in that zone working more effectively for longer. Because think about, I'm sure you understand, when you're mixing, you have like an hour, 20 minutes, 2 hours, whatever the time is, you have that period where you're really dialed in and you're making amazing moves, and then you start to fiddle off a little bit and you're still okay, but you're not quite as good. So in that hot spot, that hour, however long it is for you that you're really dialed, you want to be as effective as possible. So don't waste that hour spending 20 seconds dialing in a plugin when it can already be ready. Save those 20 seconds and then dial in something else. Boom, boom, boom. You want to move as quick as you can, and you want to be as effective as you can, because that time period, whatever it is for you, is limited. So you want to be able to tackle as many things as you can in that time period. It's almost like speed running in a way, and we're not speed running mixes. We're taking our time and being methodical. But if you think of it sort of like speed running, in the sense that you want to be as effective as possible and shave off little time here and there, and it's going to keep you in that zone, being more effective and using that time better. So those are some reasons why it might be taking you too long to mix, and generally how long it takes to mix. So if you find yourself going more than 8 hours on a mix and it's not some insane anomaly of a giant process for the mix, I would say you probably have something else going wrong. And the most likely culprit is just confidence. You're not confident in your moves, so you keep working and tweaking forever. Or you're afraid to say that it's done because it's not quote unquote perfect. And perfectionism is going to kill your mixes, because your idea of perfect doesn't even exist. So you're chasing something that's not real. You're never going to get there. You have to know when the mix is as good as it's going to get, or is as good as you can make it. And then you throw in the towel. And that's not to say that you quit or gave up. Don't stop until you feel it's the best you can be, but you have to also be realistic and understand that you're chasing an impossible perfection. So finish that mix. Don't keep tweaking it. So I hope that helped you guys and you could identify what your problem was and try to work on stopping it out. I know that's a lot easier said than done, but the first step is to identify it, and that's what I'm here to do for you. So let me know down in the comments below, how long does it take you to do a mix? What step takes the longest? For me, it's editing. I don't like editing, but it's crucial. So there you have it, guys. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. If you don't, I make a video every day. Like, what are you going to say to me tomorrow? It's going to be a little awkward, right? Just do it today. In Swain with Swain Audio, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.